Today I'm going to do something a little bit different. Recently I finished binge watching 3 separate shows, and I decided, why not just go ahead and give quick reviews on just all 3 of them all in one video rather than, like, trying to do them in separate videos. Thought this would be something new to try. This will take place in the movie review for today, but it's my channel so I can do whatever the hell I want, so who cares? So the first show that I recently watched was Wayne. This is one of the newer YouTube original TV shows that they've made, and this was co-written and executive produced by the writers of Deadpool, and tells the story of Wayne, a normal high school kid, well, normal in quotes, who really is kind of a, guardian protector of basically, people that he cares about and friends and whatnot, and by that I mean he takes the protection to kind of another level. He begins to fall in love with a girl named Dell, and eventually he finds out that his mom, who left his dad long ago, took a car that his dad was going to give him. After his father passes away, he decides to for him and Dell to go to Florida to get the car back because it's what his dad wanted for him. And so begins a cross-country, comedic, dramatic, romantic road trip where lots discovered, lots of action, and all sorts of other stuff. It's a really interesting show. The acting from everyone is fantastic. The guy that plays Wayne, he's great. Sierra Bravo, who you might remember from Big Time Rush, who plays Dell. She is really fantastic in this role. She is great. There's an entire episode dedicated to her, and she's fantastic in that. Her Boston accent is great, same as Wayne's. And the guy that plays Wayne is also British, which is something that's interesting. And his Boston accent, you would not believe he's British. And basically everyone else in the show does a great job. There's not a single bad actor in this film or a single terrible performance. The comedy works really well. The drama that does appear does work very well. And it's a good blend of dramatics and comedy. And the bit of action that's in here, don't expect a huge amount of action. There's a little bit of it here and there. Sometimes it's really funny, sometimes it's very dark, sometimes it's very serious. It's a good blend of all that kind of stuff. But don't expect it to be action throughout. It only happens in a couple of episodes in certain different parts, but some of it's just kind of insane, and I don't even need to go into detail because it'd just be kind of spoiling it, but especially in the end of the show, it's kind of crazy. If there's any flaws I can really think of, is that sometimes it does take a while for the show to really get itself going through for certain things. Not that that's necessarily a bad thing. It happens with every show. But sometimes it just seems what is this episode building to, and some things like that. That happens in a lot of shows. But it doesn't really hinder the show. There's still great performances, comedy, and drama. But there's a few episodes I'm this one's okay. It's not the greatest. But then it picks up in the next episode. It's just kind of a mixed bag of variations. But overall, I found Wayne to be a very enjoyable show. I can't wait to see what they do with season 2. I love the comedy, drama, some of the action. I love the performances. Found it hugely entertaining. And if you don't have a subscription to YouTube Premium, if you're a college student, $6 a month. I don't know about regular people. I highly recommend you at least get a free trial just to check out Wayne. It is quality. I'm going to give Wayne an 8 out of 10. The next show that I binge watched was another YouTube show, Cobra Kai. This was the sequel TV show to the original 1980s Karate Kid, and continues the story from that. And this one focuses more on Johnny after all the events of the Karate Kid films, and now he's an adult. He's in a very low place in his life. He lives in a terrible apartment. His job is he has a dead-end job. Basically, he's kind of going nowhere until a new kid moves into his apartment building. And after he sees him getting beat up in the parking lot, he takes him to his karate mode action, beats the ever-living crap out of these jackass high schoolers. And this sparks the love of karate back inside of him, and makes him want to reopen the dojo Cobra Kai. But this doesn't exactly sit well with Daniel, who has become incredibly successful, has an amazing family, house, job, owns his own car dealership. He's doing fantastic with his life. And once he sees Cobra Kai's reopened, he doesn't like that. And so it sparks a rivalry between the two of them again. But this one focuses much more on Johnny and everything from his past and how it's connecting to this. And then Daniel seeing the same kind of ideas and the struggle that they're both facing with Cobra Kai in the center of it all. And I found the show to be very, very interesting. Now, me, I never grew up in the 80s. I wish I did. And I never really grew up on the old Karate Kid. I more grew up on the newer one, starring Jaden Smith and Jackie Chan. I enjoyed that film. I think I've only seen the original Karate Kid maybe once, so I was kind of going in with this with like a blank slate, not really knowing what to expect because I don't know what to expect. And I was thoroughly surprised. I loved how it kind of made... It didn't make either of them really the hero or the villain, because they both do like good things, but they also do questionable things. So it kind of really blurs the line between who's the good guy and who's the bad guy, and basically says like, well, they could be or they might not be. Just depends on your point of view, which I thought that was done very well. The acting all around from everyone, from Johnny, Daniel, Daniel's kids, the kid that Johnny trains, and everyone else in between, they all did a fantastic job. I really enjoyed everyone's performances. I can't wait to see what they bring for season 2. The karate in this film, it was done incredibly well. Very shot with like minimal cuts, all done like with basically like maybe 1 or 2 shots, all done on screen. I don't know how much of the actors did themselves, but it looks very nice. As for the story, as the show progresses, it starts to get a little bit cliched in a way. Like it starts to hit certain beats that you kind of expect, and certain things that happen for characters like just kind of happen too fast and come kind of like out of left field. Particularly with the kid that Johnny trains, I understand like his arc, but it happens too fast, if that makes sense. When you watch the show, you'll understand why, but it just seems to happen too fast, which is probably the only like problem I have, is really with some stuff just going too fast. Like they were like, oh wait, we need to do this, and then like they kind of like quickly like wrote it in. Like they should have done it maybe a bit earlier, but they didn't. And that kind of goes for some other characters, the same kind of idea. But overall, in the end, Cobra Kai was very entertaining. Had great comedy, drama, great action. Fantastic performances from everyone. I very much enjoyed it, even though I never really grew up watching the original Karate Kid. If you grew up watching that one, you're probably going to love the show. And if anyone that hasn't seen it, go watch the original Karate Kid, then go watch this, and you're going to find something new to love. I'm going to give Cobra Kai an 8 out of 10. And then the third show that I binge watched was Sex Education, which is a new show that came out not too long ago on Netflix. It's about 10 episodes, and it's a British comedy show. Stars Asa Butterfield and several other people, and tells the story of a young high school student and his friends who, after one day, realize that Asa Butterfield's character, he's really good at like helping students like get through, like talk to them and work them through like any kind of relationship and sexual problems that they might be having. And so they decide to start off with like their own kind of like business, therapy business, to help out certain students. And through this, we see many things happen to other characters and how they all deal with it, their interactions, the comedy, the drama of being high schoolers and dealing with sexuality, sexual relationships, and like other things like that. I found the show to be really interesting. One of the first things that I really noticed was how serious it took, like the sex education part of it, because it could have been really easy for them to just play as much as they could for jokes, but they took it really seriously, which I thought was really good. Each episode, while it doesn't mainly focus on whatever the characters' problems are with the for sex therapy, it does keep coming back, and when it keeps coming back, it is really interesting to see. Several of these people show up later on in the show, and it's interesting to see how Ace's character has helped them out, and how he helps out other students, and also seeing how this kind of helps him out in his life, with his family, with his friends, with his sexual problems and other things like that. It was thoroughly interesting. And then as well for his other friends, I love their characters. They were really entertaining. Had a lot of great one-liners. I love the stories that they were going through. And in the end, I was excited for a second season to be happening, because I'm pretty sure second season is happening. As for any problems, I think the show leaves itself on too big of a cliffhanger for certain characters and things. It's like this should in case just kind of have more of a finale to it in a way. Still leave things sequel bait for a second season. But I feel like it did it a little bit too much. It didn't really conclude, if that makes sense. There's been several shows that do this, but this one was surprising in how much of a sequel bait tease at the end it was. I love the cinematography. The show looks beautiful. I love the writing. I love the acting. The great blend of the comedy and the drama worked really well. I love the character arcs. I love the journeys that they all went on. Yeah, if there's any real problem, it's really just how it all kind of concludes. Doesn't conclude badly, but just doesn't conclude in a way that is really satisfying. In the end, Sex Education was a huge surprise. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I loved pretty much everything about it. I thought that it was a really good show with great acting, characters, drama, comedy, everything, you pretty much name it. And also just forewarning for anyone out there who's sensitive to this kind of stuff, the sexual content and nudity is pretty graphic, like as graphic as it could be, but it is necessary for this type of story and for this type of show. So if you're a bit sensitive to that, I just want to give you a forewarning and heads up that you're going to be expecting a lot of that. I'm going to give Sex Education a 9 out of 10. I'm excited to see where the second season of this goes, as well as second seasons for all these shows. And if you haven't seen any of these shows, I highly recommend that you check them out. I think they're all great. I find them all incredibly entertaining. And yeah, so if you like this whole like new thing that I might do, it depends. You know, binge watching shows is a long time. But yeah, I just decided that this would be something interesting, and I highly recommend that you check any of these shows out. So if you want to check out any more reviews or gameplay videos or anything, make sure that you subscribe and you hit that bell icon so that way you can stay notified, like, share, do all that stuff. I don't plan any of these outros out, and I will see you all next time. Alright, peace.